That's always my answer. Where they're like, are you a cop? I'm like, I know, right? I know. I misplaced myself.
You can do all kinds of stuff. I prefer the gym, but I know a lot of people get intimidated going into the gym. So those are some great examples of how you can just work out from home.
Your next favorite podcast pick starts now. Here's the Professor and Heather Ann.
Welcome to the Professor and Heather Ann. Although we don't have all the answers, we hope we can encourage and excite you. We're here sharing our lives to inspire you to make the most of the second half of your life.
So today's episode is all about how to stay fit, build strength, and eat smart, especially for those of us in our 50s, 60s, and beyond. Our guest later this episode is a professional bodybuilder and fitness coach sharing tips on how we can live well, age strong, and take charge of our health. So let's start by Heather, talk about how you stay active.
The gym. I love the gym. I have preferred working out at the gym more than working at home.
Mm-hmm.
Probably started when gymnastics when I was younger. In high school, I started actually working out at the bodybuilder gyms. Was serious, went there, worked out. I wasn't there to flirt or try to pick up a guy or anything like that. I just feel better when I work out. So lifting weights has always been a part of my life. After my hysterectomy and everything, I had probably didn't work out as much. And so the last 20 years, it's been back and forth. But I still prefer the gym. The gym is my number one place. And which brings us to you, because when we started dating, I had really just gotten back into working out and was like, here, come to the gym with me.
So I, in high school, I was on a cross country team, and then in my 20s, in grad school, I was into weightlifting. Me and some of my friends. This is for a few years, but then after I got married the first time, really the only working out I did the whole time I was married was the field work, studying the monkeys in Costa Rica. This was very, very strenuous, going up and down steep hills in the 95-degree heat. But I didn't do any like recreational working out. So I took about a 35-year break from that, and it wasn't till right before the pandemic I started going to the gym at UCLA and spending half an hour on the treadmill. But I didn't really start working out again until we met, and you encouraged me to join a gym. We were at first at a lesser gym, a gym of the sort where you just go in, work out, and get out in a hurry. But the gym we're at now, though, is sort of all inclusive, because there's not just the weights and the cardio machines, but there's yoga classes and a cafe, and it's a very relaxing place to be.
So I've been a member there for 10 years plus and have liked all the classes. They have kind of HIIT classes that our guests will be able to explain a little bit more that I like. They really push you. I've been doing those for quite a few years and just got back into it. But part of the reason why you started working out is I just started noticing your balance and things like that, and was like, here, we need to start working out. Then I pushed you to get with a trainer, because I needed to make sure you were lifting weights and doing things properly. So because I'm a competitive person, so we'll be honest about this. I'm a competitive person, so I can't watch you at the gym. It's like you have to go off and do your own thing, and I do my own thing, because all I want to do is like maybe correct you or show you something different, and then it messes up with I know that
So-
sounds kind of mean. Like even in yoga,
In the yoga,
you
we have
can't
to
be
sit
next
at
to me.
opposite
You
ends of
can't
the
be,
studio.
yes. So it's like, where are you in yoga class today? And then you have to pick someplace else. But it's just because I want to make sure, yes, I'm competitive, but I also want to make sure that you're just doing things properly, because especially if you haven't worked out for a lot of years, you can injure yourself quite easily if you're not using proper technique and all of that. So
So I've
listeners, don't get mad at me because I make my husband go over to the other side of the yoga. I'm there for relaxation. That's what I'm here for.
it would stress you out to see me.
But but it helps. It's like, are you going to the gym? We're going to the gym today. And there's a lot of times we actually do not go together.
But even then, we keep each other accountable. So, how many times have you gone this week? When are you going next? And so that it's helpful as a motivator.
It is. And I'm inviting you to go to more yoga classes with me. So
Yeah.
That may be changing with me. I'm not sure. But what I really am very excited about. So our next guest, I have met at our gym, Lifetime, and she is one of the trainers for one of my favorite classes that I like to do. And one of the things I like about these different classes is that here's the setup, but you work at your pace. So one of the things that maybe a lot of listeners do not know about me is that I have literally broken almost everything on my right side of my body. Yeah. So my ankle twice, my foot twice, I've had knee surgery, shattered my right arm, I have a plate in my arm and all of that stuff. So there's certain things I can and cannot do, and I just modify that. And our guest, Erin Hawkins, is the trainer in one of my classes that I like. She's a professional bodybuilder, fitness coach here in Tulsa. She's originally from Florida, raised in Western Maryland, discovered her passion for weightlifting in high school through the Power Weightlifting Club. Later graduated from the Culinary Institute of America in 1995. She built a dual career as a private chef for celebrities in New York City and Los Angeles, while earning numerous fitness certifications, teaching group classes at Gold's Gym, competing on the NPC figure stage, relocating to Virginia in 2005, taught fitness modalities for 16 years, founded her personal training studio, Gym Rats.
How do you spell that?
Really? GYMRATZZ. I like the spelling of that.
Me too.
I like that. In 2008, where she trained hundreds of clients in small groups and one-on-one sessions. After a 19-year competition break, she won her first NPC show in women's physique, qualified nationally, and following a move to Oklahoma, earned her IFBB Pro card by placing first overall in women's bodybuilding in July of 2022. Now based in Tulsa, Gym Rats marks its 17th year in business in its fourth location as Erin continues her education with a recent NASM Physique and Bodybuilding Coach certification and competes at the IFBB Pro level. She's helped people of all ages transform her fitness routine. I have been working with her on my health through my class with her. Erin, a lot of people think that once you hit 50, it's all downhill physically. What do you have to say about that? And welcome. Thank you very much for coming. I've been excited about having you here.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Funny story about the spelling of Gym Rats, if I can hit that real quick.
Yes, please, because I like the spelling of it.
It's a cute story. So my mom, when I was, when the internet started, like when it first started, right? The internet new and everybody's buying .com sites,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's like, honey, I bought a bunch of websites because everybody says that's what you're supposed to do. And she goes, I bought you one called Gym Rats, but the original spelling was taken, so I got one with 2 Z's on the end of it. She's like, I'm just going to keep paying for it till you need it. And this was like, whenever, in the late 90s, right? And then, I decided to start my business, and she's like, I still have that website. Do you want to call it Gym Rats? I'm like, heck yeah,
She named your business.
So,
I
cute
like that.
internet origin story. After 50, anything's possible. I think everybody should work out, as an overall general statement. But it doesn't go downhill unless you let it.
Unless you let it.
Correct. So it's easier, of course, to have a lifelong fitness routine, right? But starting at this age or any age, as long as you do it smartly, there's no problem with any of that.
And I'm seeing a lot older people. Now, do you mind if we say how old you are?
I'm 51.
Yes. So you're in our age range. And I am starting to see a lot of older people our age get into, like they have never worked out before. Now, all of a sudden, you have these women coming forth and starting lifting weights, even though they've never lifted weights in their life. What do you think the attraction is to that? But also with menopause and all that stuff that's coming out, they're talking more how lifting weights is more beneficial than necessarily heavy cardio.
Right. And it's always been that way, but it's very good that people are waking up to that fact, I'll say. Because I know it's a fact. It's cardio is good for you too. And what you said about people starting now, I think it's a few things. Like they're getting older, or they feel like things are slowing down, or they need to, or maybe the doctor told them they need to work out, or maybe they have more time for themselves, especially women, right? They have more time for themselves. The kids are gone or older, involved in school more. But it's a good trend to see, because I believe that it doesn't matter how old you are. You can start anywhere. What I do recommend is you start with things that are logical, right? Like you wouldn't just show up at CrossFit on day one of your 50 plus brand new workout routine, right? But walking on a track, I say to everybody first, if you've never done anything, walk. Like leave your house, walk out the door, walk away from your house for 30 minutes and come back for 30 minutes. And then lifting weights, of course, cardio is great too. You need to do cardio for your heart and your internal health for sure. But lifting weights, I call it your body's 401k, in that way. So, because muscle does so many good things for you.
Yes.
It keeps you going. It's longevity. It's just proven now that all those things are good. So while cardio is very important and you need to do that too, I don't want, especially women and men, not to be afraid of weights, because that's the good stuff.
One of the reasons why I directed Joe towards starting to lift weights was I had noticed his posture. And so I noticed his mother, they're smaller in stature, so they have a tendency, I saw it in my grandmother, they had a tendency to kind of get that hump in their shoulders. And so I started noticing that and just asked him to do a few simple things like, put your arms out. And he's like, well, that kind of hurts. And it's like, oh, we need to work on that.
Yes.
Because you don't realize that you're not using those muscles as you're getting older. So you're getting tighter. That contributes to you having problems with your balance.
Yes.
What have you noticed since you started working out?
Well, I've noticed I have a lot more strength for just everyday tasks. Okay, so when you pack when we travel and you pack the suitcase, it's 50 pounds. It's just under the limit after which you have to pay a huge amount of money. And when we first started going out, I had trouble lifting a 50-pound suitcase into the back of the car, and now it's no problem at all. So that's and then my balance has improved a lot, I think, from a combination of yoga and including of the routines that I always do when I'm working with weights is the lat pull down to keep those back muscles strong. And my balance was in terrible shape. I noticed on airplanes, walking to and from the bathroom, I'd feel like I'm about to just topple over onto my fellow passengers, and not anymore. So those are the two things I've noticed the most.
So one of the things I keep saying that I like is I like the GTX. it's a little bit different than the CrossFit, I think that it is.
Yes, for sure.
And I like that because one, it could be modified to whatever your needs are. But I feel like they're smaller classes, so you're getting a little bit more of that one-on-one. So if I'm lifting incorrectly or doing something incorrectly, then you can come over and say, hey, do this, or, your form's not right or something like that. So tell me.
Right. It's classified as small group training. So that type of class, it's nice because it's you get your cardio and your weights in there in 1 hour, right? That's the model of it. So, but yeah, you're basically, it's a big personal training session with, maybe 10 to 15, 18 people.
And it's all different ages.
All different ages.
I am not the oldest one in the class.
No,
I'd like to say that. I am not the oldest one in the class.
I've got teenagers in there all the way up to, 70s.
Yes. And
So.
I've told Joe that he needs to take one class or two after the first of the year. So,
and any good coach, any class, any gym you go to, any class you take, any good coach will modify any workout for you. So I don't want anybody to be intimidated by, going to a gym and trying a class. They're supposed to be, aware of people and, modify
and
for
modify
people.
for it. And I have no problems, when I need modifications on
With or
certain
without
things.
a high sign from the person
Yes.
going into it, you should be able to spot who needs what. That's a good coach. So,
Well, and it's not just about working out and stuff. It's the nutrition. So I didn't learn this until later in life, even though when I started working out with weights in my teens, I know now, as an adult, learned this quite a few years ago, I was actually intentional, unintentional, I don't know, anorexic. So I did not eat properly whatsoever. But it drove me crazy because I could never get the cut abs. But I know a lot of that didn't matter how much I worked out. I could never get the cut abs. And I know a lot of that has to do with the nutrition, that I wasn't putting anything into my body to help fuel it. So tell us a little bit about nutrition, and when you train your clients and stuff, how does nutrition and working out go hand in hand?
I would say nutrition's, 90% of the picture. It's a big part of the pie. If you want to see things like that, if you want to see definition, then yeah. But in general, just living your life, even if you didn't work out, your nutrition's important. Protein is the most important thing.
So
I will say that.
And so how far should you take that? There's a friend of mine out in California who he does a lot of working out, and he basically he lives on red meat and fiber supplements. That's it.
Yeah.
You recommend that?
Carnivore. Sounds like he's a carnivore guy, right?
Yeah.
I do. There's carbs are not the enemy. And you're going to hear that a lot from, people these gurus, quote unquote gurus, that I've learned over time, when you're a young 20-something trainer, you're like, eat every 3 hours or eat every 2 hours and eat 6 times a day. And, they kind of beat you down with this information. Now, we've come a long way since then. I'm 51. I've been a trainer since I was like 19 years old. So it's been a 30-year span. And, now looking back at all that, we were just kind of repeating what we were taught to repeat. But now I've done carnivore, and I understand intermittent fasting, and I understand that you don't have to eat all day long. You don't eat every 3 hours. That's not really, our body has evolved over time, evolution of the body, but we haven't evolved that much where that we can be, eating every 2 seconds. People just eat a lot, too much sometimes. In the terms of like regular people, like I'm a bodybuilder, so it's kind of it's a different situation when I'm
You and I are going to eat
competing.
very different from each other.
I mean, I have to eat a lot in my off season. Just talking about me for 1 second, I have to eat a lot in my off season. I bring it down when I get close to a show, but that's a whole different that's an athletic, thing.
Yes.
But a normal person, protein is still the most important thing. Carnivore is interesting because it's kind of the idea that, what was provided to us here on the planet originally is what we're supposed to eat. And I agree with that. And it's not a religious thing. It's just it's a fact. We've done all this stuff to food. Like we've changed it and we've morphed it into this craziness. And
that's not even food anymore.
Right. And, your body really, it needs protein, it needs amino acids, and essential, amino acids and it needs protein, you could live without carbs forever. You really don't need it. Your body does its own thing. You
people
need
in the
fat.
Arctic
Fish,
just eat nothing but
right?
animals.
And they're the healthiest people on the planet. You read these studies and you're like, okay. So, it's what you think it is. Sugar is more the enemy than carbs it's a tool. Carbs are needed, especially if you're trying to build muscle, you need some carbs. Sugar is actually the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We've done that to ourselves. Sugar was not in the cards originally, and that's usually the problem. And then branching off of that, processed foods, right, which is, where we're at today, especially in this country, which I'm glad things are hopefully turning around. They don't get a lot of nutrition courses, doctors in school, and you almost have to be self-taught and pay attention to. But I understand carnivore. My family, my little family of the four of us, my husband and my son and my daughter, we're kind of what I call quasi-carnivore. We eat a lot of meat and we eat some rice and some potatoes. The vegetables, I'm not poo-pooing vegetables. I'm just saying that, they spray them with all kinds of stuff. We're not sure what they're doing with it. I could be perfectly happy eating meat and rice the rest of my life, and that's it. I don't know if that answers your question, but
it does. And I'm realizing because especially women our age, at a very early age, we were taught that you just don't eat. You want to lose weight, you don't eat. So
I went through a bout of that myself. I think most women in my early 20s,
yes.
When I first got out of college and I first was on my own, I would run 10 miles a day and eat a salad. I did stuff like that.
So when you were talking about how, quite a few years ago, they were telling us to eat 6 meals a day.
Right.
And when I would be doing training and stuff, there's no way I'm eating 6 meals a day.
Right.
That's just not going to happen. So I've been learning, and it's been a process, and I've had to relearn about eating and fueling my body. And even with the whole trying to lose the weight and all of this stuff and restricting, it's not necessarily restricting the calories. And then if I'm adding in a GTX, I've got to add in more food. That's been a whole mind process because we just weren't taught that when we were younger. And being the gymnast, it was, I was built like the gymnasts of today, not the gymnasts of our age. And so I was always constantly being told, you've got to drop pounds. And it's like, I don't know how much skinnier I can be.
Right.
So it is a process. And I think women our age still have a problem with nutrition and eating. And what am I supposed to be eating? We have, it's still a battle. We still have to work on it with cutting out the chemicals and stuff. We make our own coffee creamers and different things like that because you just pick up a label nowadays.
Yeah, they don't make it easy on you.
No, and it's like, what is, can't even pronounce most of this stuff that's in here. So I know that a lot of women we're trying to do better. We're trying to fuel our body with the right things.
And men too, like it affects these, just speaking to what you said just then about the chemicals and like seed oils and stuff, it affects men and their testosterone too. It's us a lot, but it's them too. That's things that they're putting it in everything. You really have to read.
It's amazing.
I think I'm a very black and white type person. So
I am as well.
I get to the point where I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just going to feed my family meat and rice because it's too much work to dissect and evaluate and, all the other stuff. I don't want to, I do read every label. I don't buy things that have certain things in them. And now, you pick up stuff stuff I used to love as a kid. Like I love candy. Okay. Big reveal there. There's certain candies from childhood that I love, right?
I think we all
Comfort
have that.
food.
Yes.
Swedish fish. Okay. Just for a quick example, the red fish.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Love them. And that would be like a treat, but recently, I think we were on a family trip and we're driving and the kids, we stop and I'm
especially when you're on a road
Can I
trip or
get a
something,
few-
you've got to get your
snacks.
comfort snacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we go in this gas station and they're like, Mommy, can we get these? And I'm like, let me look at it. And they've put the bioengineered labels now on Swedish fish. I'm like, I guess we can't have that anymore.
Because who
I
even
died
knows
a little
what that
inside
is?
that day because
it's like, I can't eat these anymore.
Because I'm certainly not putting that in my body. Bioengineered, no, I'm good.
That's even worse than the seed oils and whatever else processed stuff I've been noticing those labels are on a lot more
have to pay
things
attention
nowadays.
And what is your opinion about supplements? So whether there should be necessary at all? Because you referenced evolution and how there's foods that we're evolved to eat, and we've sort of strayed a long way from that in contemporary society. But I mean, you could make the case, right, that if you're eating the kinds of foods we evolved to eat, you shouldn't need any supplements. Our ancestors did not eat supplements. Okay, well,
Right.
what do you say?
Absolutely. Like, you should be able to get most things you need from meat. Like, I like the whole, it's a kind of a joke, but it's funny. The cows eat the grass, we eat the cows. Which I stand by that. But yes, you need some supplements for sure. Creatine. I say that to everybody, no matter what your age is. Starting from late teenager age. I have people, all day long, people text me from like every phase of my life, people from Virginia, when we live there forever, because I've done this for so long that I heard from a client that I haven't heard from in like 12 years. And they'll be like, hey, my son is 15. Can you take creatine? And I always say, yes, just maybe half a dose to begin with, because he's young. But creatine has been proven. It's like the most researched supplement that's out there as cognitive. So I say to everybody, I know that one for sure, creatine, everybody. Protein supplement, if it's a clean protein and you need it and you're working out, if you can't, that's what you're saying is it's challenging with your pace of today, like to get all your meals in. So
get all that protein, yeah.
Right, because you do need that recovery, repair, building. So for sure, creatine for everyone, for sure a good protein supplement if you can tolerate it. And then beyond that, there's certain things for workout performance you could use, but good old cup of black coffee is great pre-workout. People spend money on pre-workout, and I'm one of them. They're tasty, they're fun. Taste like you're having a little Gatorade, and a little peppy Gatorade, but truly, you need a cup of black coffee. Will be fine, and it'll do you just fine.
Except for those of us that don't drink black coffee. I just can't. I'm a newer coffee
like
drinker. I can't bring myself to it whatsoever. So we've talked about the nutrition and the workouts. Should people 50 and older train a little bit different? I mean, obviously, I'm definitely training different than I was when in my early 20s.
Yeah, I think if you've been working out over time for most of your adult life, doing the same thing, you have to change it up here and there. But like if you're brand new and you're coming in at it at this age, ease into it. Just like when I have a pregnant client, they're like, well, can I still work out? And I'm like, well, you can work out. Like you can do what you're used to doing, but you wouldn't start training for a marathon right now, right? Same thing if you're older and you're brand new to it, start walking, start lifting weight, or even holding weight while you walk. That's one of my favorite things to do on the treadmill. Like to the point of like getting older and your joints and things like that. We don't need that, pounding. No one needs to be running 20 miles at this age. I mean, you can if you enjoy it, but you could be rowing, you could be doing things that are no impact. Stretching before you work out. You see people that sticks at the gym and they're pulling their shoulders back, and like you said, even going up against the wall, things like that. So a good warm up session when you're older, and nothing. You can absolutely do HIIT workouts if you're accustomed to it. Like I said, I wouldn't show up at CrossFit on my first day of ever working out and expect to feel successful or not die.
That's important.
But
That's very important.
But easing into it, smartly, right? But I don't think anything's off the table. Like everybody should be lifting challenging weight for their frame and their ability.
And you have to change up your workouts.
Yes.
So you can't just go.
But not every week. I see people at the gym doing new things every time, and I'm like, you might want to just keep doing what you're doing, just do it heavier. There's a thing about working out, it doesn't change. It's the basics are fine.
Basics are
all this fancy stuff you see. It's fancy and it's trendy, and you see it on Instagram. It's not always necessary, and it's certainly not. You need to get good at the basic lifts. Deadlifts, squats, chest press, push-ups, pull-ups. You need to be able to push and pull your body weight, right? And then beyond that, the classic, things that we, learn from. I'll point to Arnold Schwarzenegger because he's the god of bodybuilding, right?
Yes.
So
I read his books when I was in my 20s.
Me too. So I mean, but again, I understand what's going on. Like people see stuff and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to try that at the gym," and there's some good stuff. There's good things, but it's like reinventing the wheel. Like it's the same stuff it always was. There's fancier spins to it, but if you stick to the fundamental lifting, functional fundamental things to help you, age better. Like you were saying earlier, can you walk through an airplane in flight and not fall over, right? Can you sit down in a chair and not, can you step off a curb when you're 70 and not break your hip? Like I hear stories like that. I'm like, that terrifies me. Like functional things to keep your joints and your tendons and your bones strong, right?
Could you talk a bit about the psychology of working out? So how you keep people motivated? Because I can see how at the beginning it's kind of something new. It's sort of
well, Joe, I just yell at them until they do what I want.
She does. That's what she
I'm
does.
Kidding. I'm half kidding. I do that too. No, go ahead. Big psychology.
I'm kidding too. She doesn't really yell in our class at all. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No. Well, the drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that in me for sure. In fact, I've been asked, "Were you in the military?" I'm like, "I know, right?" That's always my answer. Or they're like, "Are you a cop?" I'm like, "I know, right? I know. I've misplaced myself." The mentality. I mean, whatever motivates you. It's. I know it's personal for everybody. I'm kind of a, like I said earlier, black and white. I'm kind of a no excuses person. I have this, you have that voice in your head, and I'm like, well, I don't want to go today, but I'm like, you're gonna go. The other voice goes, you're gonna go, and you're gonna go in there and do it, right? Because
like it,
and you're gonna like it. So, to answer that, it's different for everybody. Some people, that's what's fun about group fitness. I've been doing it so long that you almost become a very amateur psychologist about it because you kind of know who you can push and how you can push them, and who you can't. And I'm on the other side of it. I'm also like a frustrated stand-up comedian, so I have that in me. So I'm gonna happily, motivationally kind of tease you into doing what I want you to do, and and make it fun. I got to make it fun because working out, once you get to that place where you love it, and we're talking about people that maybe have never worked out, right? So you got to get them to that place where they, oh, okay, this is cool. The first experience at the gym might be terrifying, right, for those people. So if you can kind of make it fun for them, and I'm a happy motivator, but once I know your abilities and where you're at, I will push you, but never in a mean way. It might seem that way it's a funny mean.
Because I think it at least for me, but again, I've been working on and off my entire life. It has to still be fun. You can't go in dreading it every single time.
For sure.
Because then the days you don't want to get up, you don't feel motivated, it's easy to talk yourself out of it. It's like, well, I'll go next week.
Tomorrow.
It's always tomorrow. I'll go,
I'll start the diet on Monday.
Yes. It's always Monday.
Yeah.
Is there any rule for sort of like self-rewarding tricks? Because I'm thinking about this on an analogy with children taking lessons to play a musical instrument, because eventually it reaches the point where it's sort of self-rewarding because they can see that they're good at something, right, and it's something they can do with other kids. But at first, it just feels to the kid like pure torture, and they do these little these tricks. Well, if you practice and get better at this, then you get something. So, is there for some people, might it help them to sort of reward themselves for accomplishing certain goals?
For sure. And that's the thing about getting fit. If you're coming from most people are coming from a place where they need to lose weight. I mean, not everybody, but that's the biggest percentage. You'll have a client that they need to lose weight. And unfortunately, losing weight is not as fast as gaining weight. Mm-hmm. It would be nice if it was both.
It would be so nice.
But and everybody wants to see, they want instant gratification. They want to see results like the next day. Like I ate a salad yesterday. I should have abs tomorrow. No, it's like, so you have to try to set that expectation in the front. Like, look, this is going to take some effort. And it's going to take some commitment, but you will see results, and that is your reward. Like and there's nothing better than that. Like when you really have been killing it for a couple of weeks or a month at the gym, and then the pants fit better, or, the stairs aren't so hard, or you do see a tricep, a little muscle back there, you see some definition, that hopefully is reward enough. But, you really have to be, a good coach is somebody who helps people mentally. That's why with my clients, I'm always available to them if they need me. I get text message all the time, like, talk me off the ledge. I'm getting ready to walk into the Cheesecake Factory. And I'm like, okay.
Walk away, walk away.
Yeah, turn around and get back in your car and drive away. No. But, the reward is, and I say this to people, especially if they're really brand new, like, look, if you try to eat clean for me for 5 days, Monday through Friday, please eat clean. Eat your clean diet that I wrote for you. On Saturday, you can have, sidebar, I have a coach that I have for me, bodybuilding coach, different level of coaching. He's a pro athlete as well. So, but he'll be like, okay, you can have a free meal on Saturday. And I'm like, I was good all week. I get a free meal. So, use that. But
that's what I was going to bring up is that
or buy yourself some new workout clothes if that's your reward.
Correct. Right? Or new pair of shoes but it's okay when you're trying to get back into shape or lose the weight. It's okay. You're not you can't expect yourself to be perfect every single day. You can't expect to deprive yourself, but you also can't have this amazing workout. You worked out the whole entire week and you did great on your nutrition and all that stuff, and then go eat a couple of bags of Oreos on the weekend. You still have to indulge. You travel, you're out on vacation, you still have to.
Yes, you have to give yourself some grace. You have to understand that fitness is, and longevity, it's a long game, right? It's not always going to be great. Some weeks, I'm a workout person, and some days I'm like, I don't want to go. My husband will be like, let's go back to the gym. Then I'm like, yeah, you can. I don't want to go. I'm there all day. I'm good. So it's different for everybody, but understand that it's the long game. It shouldn't be like, okay, I need to lose these 10 pounds and then I can go back to my life that was before. I'm like,
correct.
No, this should be,
it's a lifestyle change.
This is like, now like brushing your teeth is, or bathing or whatever you do every day. This is something you just do because you have to take care of you're living in this thing. You got to take care of it.
But as we get older, it seems to be easier and easier to be like, oh, well, I'll just get back at the gym next week. I was sick most of November, and I've been having a hard time getting back into the gym.
You should have texted me.
I didn't know I could do that. Now that I know I can do that, Erin, you might be getting all kinds of texts from me. So
I give you a pep talk.
She's got great pep talks.
So not everyone can afford a gym membership or has the time to drive. We have kind of a longish drive. It's a half hour.
Because I love our gym.
Yeah. No, it's worth it. So what are some simple tools around the house that a person can use to stay in shape?
So again, functional stuff, like you really have everything you need at your house. You can always, get some dumbbells on the internet and, start with that. But you can squat in a chair. You can walk down the street, down your neighborhood, going up the stairs, two by two sometimes. Body weight work, push-ups, the things I talked about earlier. It made me think. I was telling my husband in the car, my grandfather when I was young, he was a firefighter in New York City, and he fell during a fire like 4 stories through this building. So he was basically crippled, but he could walk. He was just very slow as an old man, but he built this system in his garage. I'll never forget this, of like gallon jugs that he filled with sand, and he had made pulleys and stuff. And so, and it was just, I think about it sometimes. I'm like, I wish I'd paid attention more because I was a little kid, right? But now my career thinking about it now, he's passed away a long time ago, but it was so cute that he did that. But in the beginning of Gym Rats, when I first started my company, I got a little personal loan that my landlord built me my first studio, and didn't have much money left for any kind of equipment. I actually made them lift cinder blocks. And there's pictures of this on Facebook of them they all had to wear gloves because they're rough on your hands. But I'd be like, because I could afford cinder blocks. I went to Home Depot and bought a bunch of cinder blocks, and I had them carry those around and just, walk down the street with cinder blocks. Best thing you could do if you don't have a lot of stuff is just start walking, grab something heavy around your house, whatever it is. Even if you have to fill 2 empty milk jugs with water and walk down the street, that's 8 pounds in each hand, right? And walk down the street. There's all kinds of creative things you could do if you don't have a lot of, stuff you can't get to a gym or whatever. There's always core work you could do, crunches you could do, squats, lunges, all kinds of bodyweight stuff, but minimal things. When people are traveling, I tell them you get some bands on Amazon or whatever and throw them in your suitcase, and I'll write you a whole body weight workout.
And even like you were talking about push-ups. So when I had my surgery and doing, having to do therapy and everything for my arm, I couldn't go back to just doing push-ups right away. So I started against the wall, and then I started using the countertop to, start building that shoulder and that arm back. So you can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I prefer the gym, but I know a lot of people get intimidated going into the gym. So those are some great examples of how you can just work out from home.
Absolutely.
So at the gym, I notice people who it's clear that they're recovering from something. And so you have clients like that, and what kinds of
I do. I actually have my oldest client, he's 76, and he has tremors. He doesn't have Parkinson's. He had some kind of very rare virus that came and went, but it left him with these tremors. So I literally have to kind of hold on to him while he's training, but he comes every Monday and we do our thing. And, I have them do this thing where he has obviously balance issues because of his, he just shakes. So I have him I can take him a band and he pulls on it and then I drag, I make him walk to me with tension on the band. So yeah, everybody's got something going on. Even I have the same. I had shoulder surgery almost 2 years ago. I had knee surgery. You have to work around that. But no one should ever give up on themselves. Your body will recover. It will heal itself if you're smart about it and you're eating the right things.
And the main thing is there's always modifications. I don't think we could stress that enough.
Of course.
There's modifications for whatever. If I can still work out and do the things I do with breaking almost everything on the right side of my body, then no matter what your situation is, what kind of physical shape you're in, there's always things that can help you and help you get stronger.
Right. And that's the sign of a good coach. That's another, you want to find that, make sure they're not just throwing you in the deep end of the pool. Correct. Right out of the gate. That's an excited, again, I won't poo-poo anyone, but that's a very enthusiastic, usually younger, raring to go 20 whippersnapper trainer. They just want you to go, go, go. And I've had people over the years, countless people come to me and say, yeah, my last trainer hurt me. I'm like, well, I'm going to hurt your feelings. But I'm not going to. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not going to hurt you. You're still going to be able to walk when you're done with me.
Because I'm like, what happened? And they're like, well, they had me doing boss jumps on the first day because they were 20 years old. I'm like, okay, we're not going to do that. So, yes, you have to, work with your person. And, if anybody that's going to the gym, look around. I look around the gym, see who looks like you want to look, who's a trainer. And, watch their style. Usually when you go to any gym, you see trainers on the floor training people. I would say just kind of stalk them for a while and see what they're doing. And you'll figure out who has the knowledge, right? But a good trainer will start you from where you're starting. Where they want you to start, where you need to start from. Does that make sense?
That's perfect sense. I like that. Well, Erin, thank you very much for joining us today. Where can our listeners find you?
So usually my Instagram is the best way to find me. And it's Gym Rats Girl. It's real easy. So it's lowercase, my Gym Rats with the 2 Z's.
Yes.
And girl put together.
I like
That's
that.
me. That's usually my handle on everything. Gym Rats Girl.
Well, we'll make sure that we link all the information in the show notes. If you're listening and thinking it's too late for me, just remember, strength doesn't retire, and you can start working out at wherever you are right now.
Is there anything you'd like to say that you haven't gotten a chance to say yet, Erin?
I'm just grateful that you guys had me on. I think it's awesome.
We really appreciate it. It's exciting.
I want people to not be intimidated by working out. Don't be scared. Get in there, find somebody supportive. Like I said, I told you all things a good coach will do. But it's never too late. It's never too late. I'm 51 and I still stand up on a stage. And I won this last August. I won both my pro shows, which if you're not a bodybuilding person means nothing. But what it means is at the pro level, I won 2 pro shows, which is, it's the top of the top, which is exciting. So
that is very exciting, very amazing.
And I'm 51 and I'm still up there doing that. And I know it's another level, and I don't want people to think I'm ever trying to turn them into a bodybuilder. People see me and they're like, oh my God, I don't want to look like that. I'm like, cool, don't worry. It's all about intensity. But, it's never too late. I believe that. You have to believe that yourself too.
I do think that's a main thing. It is a mindset.
All of it. Everything's a mindset, especially this.
Well, thank you so much. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, which we've talked about how the reasons to work out become even more important as we age. We've talked about workouts, about nutrition, things we can do to improve our health. So our closing message here is that your best years can still be ahead. Stay strong, stay active, and stay with us as we have so many exciting discussions coming up, including with guests, and we can't wait to have you along for new episodes. So join us here each week, my friend. You're sure to get a smile. From lessons learned to mishaps, the adventures go on for miles. Here on
The Professor and Heather Ann.
Thank you for listening to The Professor and Heather Ann.